The commitments in India, the Russian president will fly back to Moscow to prepare for an all-important virtual summit with the president of the United States, Joe Biden. The presidents of America and Russia are set to discuss a range of issues, but Ukraine is likely to dominate their talks. The exact timing of the call has not yet been disclosed. We know it's going to take place at some point on Tuesday. The conversation comes at an absolutely crucial time of deteriorating ties between the two countries. Here's a preview.
U.S. President Joe Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin will hold a video call Tuesday to deal with military tensions over Ukraine, as well as other topics. Biden spoke to reporters Friday before a weekend trip to Camp David.
We're aware of Russia's actions for a long time, and my expectation is we're going to have a long discussion.
According to a U.S. source on Saturday, Biden wants to discuss U.S. concerns about Russia's military buildup on the Ukraine border, as well as strategic stability, cyber, and regional issues. The Kremlin said the two will also talk about bilateral ties and the implementation of agreements reached at their Geneva summit in June. More than 94,000 Russian troops are massed near Ukraine's borders. The Ukraine Defense Minister Oleksiy Reznikov said on Friday that Moscow may be planning a large-scale military offensive by the end of January, citing intelligence reports. Biden on Friday said he and his advisors are preparing a comprehensive set of initiatives aimed at deterring Putin from an invasion. He did not give further details, but the Biden administration has discussed partnering with European allies to impose more sanctions on Russia. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken told the Reuters Next Summit that Biden was determined to stand against any aggression against an ally.
And also to defend the territorial integrity, the sovereignty, the independence of Ukraine.
The exact timing of the call between Biden and Putin was not disclosed.
So for more about this upcoming virtual summit meeting between President Biden and President Putin, I am joined live by WION's correspondent in New York, Susan Teherani, who's been tracking that story for us. Susan, the Kremlin says ties between the United States and Russia are lamentable. How does the White House view them?
So the White House says that basically no one can put any red lines for the United States. That's what President Biden said before going into the weekend. And what he was referring to was President Putin's comments, rejecting President Putin's comments that he requested guarantee for security in the region. But also, you know, it's interesting that it's not just the White House, but this is an issue, a security issue that both Republicans and Democrats are on the same page on, and they hope that President Biden will send a clear and tough message to the Kremlin and President Putin when they do have this video call on Tuesday, and that's that you know, invading Ukraine is off the table, and the United States stands in alliance with Ukraine. Next week, after this call, this coming week, we are going to see a set of meetings in Congress that perhaps is going to also provide more support for Ukraine. We saw those comments being made by Democratic Senator Chris Murphy, as well as Senator Ernst, who is also a Republican. So I think Biden's challenge going into this meeting is going to be really not only putting into strong words, but putting into action the strong words that he's putting forth. And I think, you know, the challenge will be not only, I'm sorry, I'm getting a playback. His challenges are not only going to be the words that he's putting forward, but putting those words into action moving forward and demonstrating to President Putin that he's very serious about this possible invasion.
Susan, the issue of trust here is going to be absolutely pivotal, isn't it? Because from Washington's perspective, and indeed from the perspective of the wider world, the nightmare scenario must be that President Putin decides to test Joe Biden, maybe not by engaging in a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, but at least by allowing some of his forces to drift over into Ukrainian territory. I mean, it's a tinderbox, this issue, and one that would create an end-of-the-year nightmare for Joe Biden, who would then have to decide how to respond.
Absolutely. You know, that's the issue, Simon. If we think that Joe Biden is facing challenges here at home, internationally, that's another story. It's this story of credibility and whether or not international leaders and adversaries take Biden seriously, from China, Iran to Russia. And we have this issue of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline that many behind closed door on Capitol Hill are concerned about. They think that the fact that the Biden administration wasn't able to be tougher on Russia because of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline deal with Germany sort of gave a green light to Vladimir Putin to, you know, not take President Biden very seriously and sort of push his buttons on the one hand, and on the second hand, the withdrawal of Afghanistan might have played a role as well. So yes, the Biden administration and the President Biden himself will have to really hone in and, again, you know, be very clear cut on where the red lines are and what actions beyond sanctions, perhaps, the United States is willing to take if Putin decides to, as you mentioned, take any action at this point.
And Susan, very briefly, later in the week, President Biden is hosting his summit of democracies, 110 countries participating virtually in that. I mean, the sequencing of all this seems to be pretty interesting, right? The conversation with Vladimir Putin on Tuesday, then the Summit for Democracy on Thursday.
Absolutely, absolutely. And let's not forget that this all comes at a time when tensions are also very high with China as well. We have reports that Taiwan's president is also expected, Taiwanese leaders are expected to take part in this summit of democracies. But it's very interesting that not only Biden himself sending a message, you know, in a very Biden kind of and the Democrats kind of foreign policy initiative, you know, bringing diplomacy in the forefront on the one hand with summits and whatnot, but also, you know, trying to hone in on bilateral meetings as well with these leaders. But at the end of the day, we really have to see whether or not, again, these actions meet, you know, the words really meet the actions. Many want to see, you know, the Biden administration really take stronger actions, perhaps maybe even pull Russia out of the SWIFT banking system, you know, measures like that that are very shocking and bring a shock to countries like Russia. But we'll have to wait and see how far Biden is willing to go with Putin, and whether or not, you know, the aftershock will not be something that both sides might regret at the end of the day.
It's going to be a very interesting week, and it's only Monday. Susan Tehrani battling a noisy New York City Monday morning rush hour there and joining us live from Manhattan. Thanks so much for that.